Hi, this is Neil, and I'm collaborating with the great HPC Today magazine on the Surfactant Insights podcast. As all my dear listeners know, surfactants are essential to daily life. We use them first thing in the morning and last thing at night, and today the surfactant supply chain is under a lot of pressure from a lot of global disruptions. Let's take a look. First up, you remember COVID, don't you? The lockdowns and shutdowns leading to immediate supply shortages, the increase in consumer demand for basic cleaning products, and the drop-off in cosmetics and many industrial products. And, of course, the transportation bottlenecks, container shortages, and increased freight costs. Then, the still ongoing Russia-Ukraine war, which drove up energy costs and therefore chemical costs, including surfactants, especially in Europe. And again, trade routes and raw material availability were severely disrupted. As if that were not enough, we shortly thereafter had the Red Sea shipping crisis. Terrorist attacks on ships, forced rerouting around the Cape of Good Hope, adding a good couple of weeks to shipment times between Asia, the Middle East, and Europe, including for many surfactants and intermediates. Amidst all this, we now have US-China trade tensions, with on-again, off-again, up-again, down-again tariffs, forcing companies to develop alternative markets and sources of imports for many ingredients and finished products in our industry. And that process is really only just at the beginning stages. Not enough disruption for you? Well, how about EUDR, which, as we know, stands for Europe's Dumbest Regulation. Among other things, this requires EU importing companies to provide precise geolocation data to prove that their feedstocks, like palm kernel oil, are not linked to deforestation. But the regulation also contains a massive parcel tanker-sized loophole, which, if not closed, will allow a tidal wave of imported non-ionic and anionic surfactants to wash over the continent and wash away many European surfactant manufacturers. Talk about tilting the playing field in completely the wrong direction. So, what to do? Well, I've no easy answers, but here's a few things to consider. First, diversify a lot. That means both suppliers and products. Don't be too reliant on one region, supplier company, or product or feedstock type. Use oleochemicals and petrochemicals originating in various parts of the world. Keep on top of new technology, including, but not limited to, bio-based and biosurfactants and fermentation-produced oils and oleochemicals. Be very curious about brand new concepts like particulate surfactants and new feedstocks like sugar-based ethanol and fusel oil. Where possible, shorten the supply chain. Second, get closer to your suppliers. Conduct joint contingency and disaster planning together. Be clear about roles and responsibilities in these types of volatile situations. Third, get extra smart in operations, logistics, and inventory planning. Use digital tools and AI. It's not just for the Henkels or the Unilevers. These tools are becoming more accessible and cheaper on a daily basis. In conclusion, our surfactant industry is used to long and complex supply chains and has more or less adapted through some tough times recently. We shouldn't be complacent, though. The trade wars and various actual shooting wars around the world are not exactly over, and there's always the potential for unforeseen black swan events to make life even more interesting. That's why I believe that our industry is not only fertile ground for product and process innovation, but for supply chain technology innovation. For the inventive and the entrepreneurial in our industry, there's arguably never been a better time. So, there we are. Lots to think about. If you've anything to add or ask, please get in touch. In the meantime, thanks again for listening.